up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some more news concerning Jake Paul. Piers Morgan, get this. Piers Morgan pursues legal action against Piers Morgan days after storming off the live show. Jake Paul is pursuing legal action against Piers Morgan days after that. The YouTuber turned boxer secured his 12th professional victory against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., as we know. And the fight took place in Anaheim, California. And he is marking his legal action against Piers Morgan. And he said, the claim is baseless and irresponsible. Last night's fight versus Chavez Jr. was a fully sanctioned 10-round cruiserweight bout officiated by the California State Athletic Commission with official judges. No staging/rigging, just hard work and a legal win. Piers Morgan said, I had a better fight with Jake Paul on Thursday than the unwatchable farce that took place tonight. The guy's lining his pockets with buckets of cash, but he's killing boxing with this boring stage bullshit against other older fighters way past their prime. And let me counterpunch. I don't know if you guys seen that. I was sent that interview, and Jake Paul was pissed. He stormed off of Piers Morgan's show because Piers Morgan questioned his legitimacy being a boxer, and asked, hey, who have you fought? When you did fight someone credible like Tommy Fury, you got beat. So who else is it? Anderson Silva, Mike Tyson. A lot of people thought that was rigged. And that's when Jake Paul blew a gasket and told him, you know what, I don't need your show. The only reason I came on your show was to promote the damn fight that I'm in. I don't need you or your damn show. You bitch, you this, you that. And then he left, exit stage right. Now, since Piers Morgan has responded about the Julio Cesar Chavez fight, naturally, this is Jake Paul's stance to take legal action. And my counterpunch to that is, if someone's questioning your legitimacy and you storm off of his show, then you know he's going to clap back, right? I think what Jake Paul is not realizing is that you're putting a legal action against Piers Morgan for thinking that fights are staged. The question you ask yourself is, how many other people thought the same shit? Why are you just singling out Piers Morgan? You know why? Because he has a following. He has a warm market, a huge market of people millions of people watch Piers Morgan. And I think the idea of him going at Piers Morgan with legal action, that cease and desist type shit, is just a sign that maybe he has a point. Not in that fight, though. I think he filed legal action against Piers Morgan because this actually was a sanctioned fight. This was not a 2-minute, 8-round bullshit fight. No, this was 10 rounds on the cruiserweight level, and everything was by the book. And I think Jake Paul felt disrespected because probably this is one of those legitimate fights that he's actually showing. He showed effort, he showed discipline, he had to get up and train, and he did everything like any other boxer would. And I think because of that, he is taking legal action against Piers Morgan. But the question, again, you ask yourself is, why didn't you do that shit when people were talking about the Mike Tyson fight? You didn't do that then. You know how many people said that? You know how many people, Sly Stallone and big names, said, you know what, that was a pile of dog shit that we watched against Tyson. And Tyson was pulling punches all night. Why weren't there lawsuits against that particular issue, or that involved those particular guys, Mike Tyson and Jake Paul? Why didn't he defend that like he's defending this? Because more than likely, what happens in Jake Paul's case is, I believe the fight wasn't fixed. Now, I watched it and it looked like Julio Cesar Chavez wasn't doing anything, but you have to keep in mind, Chavez Jr. is damn near 40 years old, so he was probably trying to preserve his stamina and endurance because he really didn't have much. Because we haven't seen Julio in a while. And then after the fight, he gets locked up, as you guys know. But nonetheless, you know, I think Julio Cesar Chavez has always been like that. If he's getting outboxed, he is not that dude you think he is. He's not. Can he punch? Sure, he can punch. But he's not that dude, especially at 40 years of age. He's not. You know, and the things and the party lifestyle that he's had. No, I don't think that was a fixed fight at all. But I do think that Jake Paul has done that so many times that now his little boy cried wolf. Like, no, I'm actually fighting legitimately this time. And people are now still saying, you know what, this fight's fixed. But he can only blame himself. Because if it wasn't for him fighting older guys, that's giving people the idea like, okay, you're beating up guys that are either older or they're not even boxers. Because that first dude he knocked out with the basketball player, that was some celebrity shit. He wasn't even a boxer. You know, Tyron Woodley is not a boxer. He's a UFC guy. You just pulled him into that platform. And then a lot of people thought that was fixed. But there were no lawsuits then. You see what I mean? So if there were no lawsuits then on fights that people blatantly felt that shit was fixed, and all of a sudden now you want to place lawsuits on people, that raises a red flag. Definitely. But you guys tell me what you think of Jake Paul serving Piers Morgan with legal action because of his take on himself fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!